All right, y'all. We're back with episode 7 at the table. Appreciate y'all coming through. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Last episode, we found Jay picking up Peter after he was released. An emotional situation for the two of them. It seemed like Peter didn't just knock on death's door. It was almost like he crossed the threshold and came back.
The way the cartels run is that you have the bosses, but then you have people right underneath them. They're the everyday people. We were blessed for our personality that Chapo, Mayo, Arturo, they really liked us. They liked us. They looked at us like their sons and treated us like family.
They treated y'all, they throw all their family in the basement and starve them to death.
But then the underlings, like the right people under there, those are the people we could sit here like you and tap it up and say, oh, this, whatever the case is. They were more ruthless than the bosses.
They're a little more ruthless than the king. Like, I'll take my chances with the king.
Yeah.
He might be a little more understanding.
But they're the judges. You go and you beg, and depending on how, if they believe you or not, that's your fate.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being part of it and being in it. We were in it.
Right.
Pete had just been held hostage for over 20 days, handcuffed in a tiny room, starved and left for dead. He thought he would never see his twin brother Jay again. The kidnapping haunts Pete to this day, and he still suffers liver problems because of it.
I bet.
Jay managed to secure Pete's release just in the nick of time before it was too late for Pete.
I feel like you walked across the threshold and came back. That's got to be all kind of strain on your organs. Your body just consuming itself.
But what now? They just met the biggest drug lord in the world, El Chapo.
If it were me, I'd pack it in, leave it all right there. But to be honest, it's not that easy to leave the life. It becomes your identity, and you start to forget who you are without it. Sometimes that vulnerability makes you hold on to what you know, even when it's not good for you.
My brother and I never burned our names up when it came to like paying people back. That mattered a lot when shit hits the fan, when you're kidnapped.
You survived that. What happened next? Did you think about walking away from this or stopping this? Was that enough for you?
No, I made a promise. Like, I'm gonna find a way out. Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Because facing that kind of reality of that life, like, everyone thinks it's not gonna happen to them. If you believe that means you're not.
Till it does.
Still not, at a level where with much importance. But eventually, everyone in the life suffers some kind of a traumatic experience. I said, I'm going to find a way to quit. I have to find a way out because that I can't live with that much regret.
You were only 22.
Only 22, and look what's happened to me. And thinking about those regrets, like, what would I regret? It started coming to my mind about what would I regret that I didn't do? Besides what I said about wanting to be a better man and wanting to give someone my best and putting my ego to the side and being vulnerable, like, getting married. I said, I want to get married. Like, I'm in a church, I'm in a chapel somewhere. I want to, like, do everything correct. I want to at least know that my wife knew and I was a faithful husband and I'd give her my best and F what everyone else thinks. Like, the people who matter to me. I want to be better at everything, a better brother. I want to.
So did anything change?
Yeah, I think a lot of things changed.
Like what?
I got a little more serious about Viviana and trying to give her my best, putting my ego to the side. Like, it changed my relationships. It changed a lot of way of thinking, but it didn't change my business. The scenarios where we go through something, instead of us getting like, every time we say we're going to move away, we come back stronger. It's weird because it happened again.
Yeah, put you in the game for real.
Peter healing afterwards was like, it was painful to watch. We would have to keep him in the room with the doors closed and all the lights off. And we would have to cover the little crack under the door because the light would hurt his eyes because he was blindfolded. He was just so weak. We didn't want my mother-in-law to see him. And we had to get him help, medical help, and just make sure that he was okay. And to this day, he still has liver problems. But more than anything, I just feel like this trauma that he went through. I feel like a piece of him died.
Yeah, you're never gonna come out of that the same. You don't recover from shit like that all the way. Something goes with an experience like that. You lose a piece of yourself. Any near-death experience like that, something ain't gonna come back.
And it breaks my heart because it just changed him so much.
Our life certainly changed in so many ways after that kidnapping. At first, we thought it was like, we probably felt like it was a blessing, believe it or not.
The kidnapping?
Mm-hmm.
Because it elevated your business?
No, it's like, now what? To us, like, we were already like scraping the ceiling of what you're capable of. I mean, what else could you do that, right? Still, no matter what, I think me and my brother were still us. Like we could separate the business between who we were as people.
What do you mean by that? Because you say that a lot. You say that you were still yourselves, you could separate.
It's a way to feel better about the shit that you got to do in that business. You cope with it however you want to cope with it. You deal with those demons however you got to deal with those demons. Everybody in their own way makes a reason or excuse of why they're not guilty of this, that, or the other. That's where the term, whatever works for you, whatever makes you happy.
I feel like when it was business time, it was business time. Like I was like this certain way, and maybe my personality, the way I was. But when that wasn't there, I was just normal. I never really considered myself to be a boss. Like, not a boss like that. Like, I could boss people around a lot, and I could be bossy at times, I guess, but I never considered myself, like, I always looked at everybody as equal, as friends, equals, everyone.
Peter came back, and it was just all business.
His mentality was, never again.
Never again what? Never get kidnapped again? So what y'all gonna do? Tighten up security? Stop showing your bread? Cat's out the bag. Everybody knows you're filthy rich. Best you could do probably is strengthen your alliances and do your best to keep everybody happy.
So in a way, it was almost like the business and focusing on business was to create that power and protection and safety and actually protect any vulnerability.
Safety.
But it consumed him.
Power. And maybe not ever be in a situation where we couldn't pay something. And it was just this
creating lifelines and security deposits and insurances on themselves, you know what I'm saying? Insurances and assurances. They scaled up to be able to maneuver and survive that jungle.
A spiral, right? Going back into the cycle where it's just...
I can understand that. That makes sense.
Everything he did was just business. Like he wouldn't stop. Like it just consumed him. Like it became his obsession. It helped him deal with his trauma, just like being consumed in his work, and that's the way he dealt with it. His mentality was like, they have to do more, they have to grow, they have to scale their business, they have to be bigger, they have to be better, they have to be this almost like state of perfection.
Trauma could be a definite motivator. You come out of a situation like that and you just want to go hard and get it all done. Get it done thoroughly. And then double up on it. Triple up on it. Got that hunger.
He micromanaged everything and everybody.
It wasn't about the drug. It was about the business that I think he felt like it was his, and this is what we're supposed to do. And in his head, the only way we were going to be okay and be safe was and not have the problems that by being who we were.
You gotta be sitting at the table. You want to sit at the table with the bosses so that you hopefully know who's coming for you when the time comes.
Now, we went from being in that position to a couple of weeks later, now we're at the table with the biggest drug lords, and they love us.
And with that comes power and protection.
Power and protection and celebrations and a life that no one could have dreamed of. He's in that situation where before it was like he was at someone's mercy, and now everyone's kissing our ass, basically. I'm not saying that they needed us, I'm just saying at that point, we're valuable. And people are I think it's hard for them to understand that. We are who we are, we understood who we were.
You and Pete both said to me that cartel life became very crazy.
Yeah,
and
like I
chaotic.
said in the beginning, I think falling into meeting your idols and doing business with them, getting the respect was everything. But with that came a lot of responsibility.
I think our life changed drastically overnight. I know they were like always, their business was always, priority, but I think that it was just a lot, and there was just so many new people around us, and men, and like just so much.
Who's gonna protect us better than the biggest drug lords in the world?
Who's gonna protect us better than the people that put us in a basement and starved us?
They welcomed us in with open arms. I still remember, Mayo saying, "Now no one touches you without my permission." It was like, you belong to them. It's like, no, we are them. In the mecca of drug lords, in present time, the drug lords that we know about is Chapo, Mayo. At that time, we were important to them. At that time, we had access to more drugs, I think, than anyone else because of who we were, as in our personalities, how we carried ourselves. The vulnerable part of us was able to do business with different bosses at the same time, and I think that was a turning point. I think we recognized that just being there, like there ain't no one else there that's like us. We're the only ones.
It could also garner resentment with that too. You got guys on the team forever that ain't getting their ass kissed the way the twins are. And they're not feeling that. That could cause them problems later too.
Becoming the biggest cocaine suppliers or distributors, biggest drug distributors for the Sinaloa cartel.
After my kidnapping, I came out a different person, The dangers were real, and it was like fear. Mexico was like a whole different world than Chicago. And like I looked at it in a whole different light. I came out like just like knowing exactly what I really wanted with all my heart. I remember just having those raw emotions in my heart, like in my inside of myself. Like I wanted just to be good to Vivi. Like I just wanted to try to be genuinely good to someone. Like I had someone that deserved that, my very best. We took a walk on the beach.
Yeah, so we're taking long walks and I'm looking for the sea turtles, and
I got on both my knees. And I said, I explained to her how serious I was, that I wanted to ask her to please be my wife and to spend the rest of her life with me, And I remember talking to her, I don't know how long that is, but whatever it is, I want to spend it with you. I remember us rushing back to the house and going and call the wedding planner and looking at the calendar at the same time. It was fun to plan our wedding together. Getting married for the new beginning for us was really leaving all the past in the past. Whatever happened before that was behind us, and that we're gonna move on to something better, And holding no scorecards, right?
yeah,
We're gonna start at zero and give it a real chance.
yeah.
Give it a real chance and real chance to love each other and to be there and commit to each other. I couldn't wait for the day, and then here I am, making my own wedding plans and about to go get married, and
They kidnapped him again. No, just kidding.
there's a knock at the door.
Oh no. At least it wasn't a grenade.
We were at our home at that time, and everyone was at the hotel the day of the wedding. I was in the room. Peter, of course, was in the other room, and the employees were in the house.
And there was a knock on the door, and I remember, I'm pretty sure the chef opened the door. He comes, he's like, "Hey, Pete, there's cops here, I was like, "What?" And he's like, "There's cops here." And he lets them in. They come in, and one of the cops is the immigration agent that worked for the HOA of the subdivision of the condominium, where the houses were. He took care of the lawn work and all that. And he comes in, and I see him. I recognize him. He worked at the airport as well. They come in, and it's 3 or 4 of them at the time.
And I see the main agent. They kind of like came in like, okay, we want to talk to you. And he's like, where were the federal police? And he has like a vanilla, file folder. And he's like, look, man. Opens the file folder and I see my wanted picture. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I hear Peter and I hear his tone and his voice. Like I can tell, like, just even with the door closed, like his tone and his voice. And I hear others speaking, but I hear Peter a little bit more angered in his tone. I peek out the door and I see Peter there and I see the agents and I see the chef. And I see the folder and he has Peter and Jay's wanted photo. I'm like looking and I'm listening and the chef seen me and he's like, get back in the room, get back in the room. So I didn't waste no time. I grabbed like all the phones. All the phones were in the room. So I grabbed about 50 phones. And I just started throwing them out the window and I propped myself on a vanity chair. So I had my big dress on. We were ready to go. We were so ready to go. I had my shoes on. My big princess ball gown. It was like multi-layered. It was so heavy. Like it was already heavy. I put it on and I'm just like running through the room with this heavy dress. I have my heels on and I'm just thinking, I'm thinking I gotta get rid of the phones and I gotta get rid of the ledgers. So I propped myself on the vanity chair and I was just throwing all the phones in the bush. We had like these huge bushes on the side of the house. And I'm just like throwing the ledgers. I'm thinking like, should I rip the ledgers? What should I do? And I'm like, no, I can't do that either. And I'm like throwing everything out the window and
This sounds like a conversation they should have had as a family many times before this happened so that they could be ready for shit like this. But evidently those meetings were not had.
I'm like, mind you, I'm like scared. I know either he was going to jail today or something bad was going to happen.
The main agent tells me, look, man, the U.S. government's on their way to come get you. I didn't understand that. It wasn't until like a little later that once we were discussing them that I didn't see that they had a convoy of trucks out there. Like it was like 40 trucks. Like I'm thinking it's 4 guys coming in like, you're out your mind. I didn't see that till afterward that they already had the house like kind of surrounded and they were there to, either lock me up or extort me. They were gonna leave with something. He's like, look, man, I'm telling you right now, you're going back to the United States. The feds are coming for you, the marshals are coming for you. And then he showed me the phone and it's like an unavailable caller ID, And I was like, that's them calling me. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want? Why are you telling me this? What do you want to do? What do you want, man? Just tell me what you want. I'm like, now we're kind of like back and forth. Like, you're here, obviously you're ready to do something. What do you want?
Kill the song and dance. Let's get this party started. You came here to get some money. What do you want? Give me a number.
I believe he tells me like $1.5 million. In my head, I'm thinking like, I don't have $1 million right here.
Why, Jay?
And I said, you know today's my wedding day. Like you obviously know that. I'm stressed though, and I'm sad at the same time.
Hell yeah, you are.
It's like the worst thing that could ever happen. Like all our families there, all this, and here we're gonna go with this nightmare. And I remember telling him, like, look, man, I can't give you $1.5 million right now. I said, I got some money. I got a lot of expenses. Take what I have to give you right now, which was like $300,000 or $250,000, $200,000, whatever it was. I said, I could give you that. I said, and I'm gonna keep the rest of the money to make my expenses for my wedding. If you're patient, I could give you the rest of the money. And right away he was like, I could see him kind of get a little comfortable. I think, okay, we do have a payday coming regardless.
Yeah, he's more comfortable. You sweeten the pot.
Yeah, like, look at the marshals are calling him. They're calling him,
And now it's like our tone's a little more like, well, what do you want to do? I tell him, because you're wasting my time.
I got a wedding.
And he was like, you can't give me more money. I said, I can't. I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, take what I'm offering you and let me go and enjoy my wedding, man. I said, we planned to stay for a long time, man. My wife's upstairs. Don't ruin this day for me. And he was like, willing, like cooperating. He was like,
that's gonna cost you another $500,000, so $2 million total.
At the other agent, and he's like, my wife's upstairs. Don't ruin this day for me. And he's looking at the other agent, and he's like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, how long would you need to get the other money? I'm like, man, give me a couple days. Let me enjoy it. Let me get through this weekend, and then we could talk, you know? I said, but what's the guarantee that you're not gonna take me? Like, man, if I wanted to take you, you would have been gone already. But he's like, I'll tell you what. I'll take a phone from you. And my guarantee is that. And if you have any trouble, I'm going to help you. If I know that they're coming, I'm going to get rid of them. I was like, that's fair. I keep thinking, like, can I get away still, you know? I was like, there's no fucking way I'm getting away.
You just hired them for $1.5 million.
20, 30 federal police trucks. And remember, we live like on the beach and there's hotels next to me. I'm thinking like, could I get down the beach and like get away? And it was like, I already kind of have them there. So it was like, hey, don't worry, we're fixing it. Don't worry, just relax. My new dream till like I just got married was like shattered like this. I remember just grabbing the money, just giving to him like that, just here's the money, man. And them just like smiling with their eyes at it, you know, like these greedy bastards. And just kind of like, okay, now hurry, get the fuck out of here.
Everybody eats or you eat nothing.
I was mortified that if something were to happen when everybody's there.
Yeah, it was scary.
Did you think about cancelling it? Because what's also crossing my mind is that you've got everyone in one place, so they could take you all out.
I did, but I didn't. Like, I wasn't going to let that ruin this day for me no more. Like, I felt like if they wanted to take me, they'd take me. But I could tell you again, the greed in them, like, they wanted the money. This is common in Mexico. Like, that's what they do. They're working for someone there. They're not doing it out of, the right thing to do.
We did have a beautiful wedding and, a beautiful celebration. Just all the days that everyone was, we're all together and just celebrating each other and, celebrating with our family and our family, like, truly happy for us. And then it was like we had this over our head the whole time.
I mean, that's your life, though. I don't understand what's the big deal. You got this thing over your head. That's your life. Your life. You chose this life. You chose a life of constantly being on your P's and Q's. This is what you chose. What's different about it today? Because it's your wedding day. Y'all got this big-ass business. You connected with all these people. You're going to need a surplus so that you could bribe people and so that you can get people off of you. You done survived 2 kidnappings and all kind of other shit. What makes this different, that these cops are squeezing you?
I remember just like really like talking myself through to just let that go and just have a good time. And thinking about just seeing her walk down, like come around the corner and her beautiful drive. It broke me. Like, I was an emotional wreck. And this is someone I want to spend the rest of my life with, someone that means the world to me, And it's such a beautiful moment. Like, those moments of joy are truly magnified because of so much ugly and bad moments in our life.
Absolutely. Chose.
I had to go pick up my phones and clean up. We were late too.
Yeah, we had to get the phones, the ledgers. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, thank goodness I didn't rip the ledgers, because that was all that they had to, all their accounting. So it was one event, right after another. It was a wedding.
And now I have to move all my family from our town, and this is crazy, man.
And you see the pattern, like we couldn't celebrate our marriage, we couldn't honeymoon. It was just like this ugly pattern of ups and downs for us.
It's the game.
It was clear that the authorities knew exactly where the Flores family lived. So to avoid detection and further extortion, the entire family picked up and moved their lives to a different part of Mexico. This happened a lot. At times, they had to just drop everything and leave at a moment's notice with food in the fridge and clothes left in the dryer. The only thing they would take is family photos so that they couldn't be identified. It did help that money wasn't really an issue for the twins. The kidnapping might have been hard mentally, but it was a blessing for the business dryer. The only thing they would take is moved their lives to a different part of Mexico. This happened a lot. At times, they had to just drop everything and leave at a moment's notice with food in the fridge and clothes left in the dryer. The only thing they would take is family photos so that they couldn't be identified. It did help that money wasn't really an issue for the twins. The kidnapping might have been hard mentally, but it was a blessing for the business. Jay's unexpected meeting meant that the twins were now dealing directly with Chapo himself. But first, Pete had to meet the man that gave the order to kidnap him.
What was the first impression when you met Chapo?
I was starstruck. I was nervous. I felt intimidated, because you never know. Part of me was comfortable. I wasn't that. However, I had just been released from my kidnapping, so it was really I know they're not going to kill me. They want to kill me. They would have killed me. I've kind of felt that, but I was still a little bit on edge. And everything makes you on edge when you're there, It's they got all these guns and stuff for a reason. I'm a fugitive. And I'm thinking, man, if something happens here, I'm here, I'm done. So many things could go wrong. One bad conversation or one bad disagreement. They say he started a war that killed thousands of people over someone not shaking his hand.
Think about that. A war that killed thousands of people, all predicated on somebody not shaking one man's hand. One man with that much power, same thing with the president of the United States or any other powerful man. You give a lame too much power, they're trying to use that power at any point, at any moment, for any reason. And there's only so long, and I'm sure it's minutes once you get that kind of power, you're abusing that power. One wrong conversation at that table, one wrong conversation with not even the main guys, but the underbosses and the underbosses' underlings. One little thing that turns into a Mexican standoff that ain't a standoff. Everybody's squeezing triggers and there's bullets flying everywhere. And then whoever wins, then they go wipe out your family.
And one of our first ever main direct deals we ever did with the people, I'm literally, we meet Mayo Zambada, we meet Chapo, we're all sitting down. There's a bunch of our old connects there. So I remember sitting there and feeling nervous. I'm telling Mayo Zambada, man, you mind if I say something to you, man? I just got up you mind if I talk to you real quick? I want to say something to you. Yeah, tell me. Look, man, we've been in business for a long time together, Maybe not directly, but through other people. Unfortunate events led me to this path. I just want the chance to be able to work directly with you without no middleman, without nobody putting my life in danger.
Right.
And he laughed.
I remember Peter said,
I want to be responsible for my own life. Yeah, for my own life. So he said, he laughed. He's you know what? You've earned it. You got that coming. From now on, you're my people. I want everyone to know you're my people.
Like they said earlier, they wanted to grow the business so that they had that type of security so that Peter wouldn't end up in the basement again. They sat around that table and they saw a bunch of people that they dealt with already. I'm sure that triggered the thought of Lupe in their head. Maybe Lupe's even there, They made it their business to holler at Chapo, to holler at Mayo and say, look, I want to deal direct with you. I don't need none of these other guys messing up, putting that on my head. and then the both of us end up in the basement with our wives.
I want to be responsible for my own life. Yeah, for my own life. So he said, he's like, you know what? You've earned it. You got that coming. Like, from now on, you're my people. Like, I want everyone to know you're my people. If they mess with you, they mess with me. You're like, you're going to get whatever I give, whatever I sell the kilos for, I'm going to give them to you. The same price I give them to my main people.
Right.
And just like that, like, I got 500 something kilos. You want them? And we were picking up 500 kilos like an hour and a half later. Okay? And remember, but before we left, I said, hold on. I don't think I could pay for these right now.
Right.
And he laughed. He's like, don't worry about it. Your word's good enough. We started a relationship.
You make friends with Chapo, you get 500 keys dropped on your head instantly.
I remember Mayo Zambala, like one of the first meetings. He's like, I heard about you guys, and I didn't want to meet you. Like, I was expecting some 6 foot tall, ugly, dark. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. Like, I ain't gonna meet them. What if they shoot me? I'm 5'7". We're both 5'7".
I'm with Mayo Zambala, which is, for a lot of people who don't know, is the head of the Sinaloa cartel, along with Chapo. He's been the boss for the last 40 years. And he's never been arrested. He's the man.
Mayo is still the head of the Sinaloa cartel. He's still never been caught. He's currently in hiding, and the reward for his capture was recently tripled to a $15 million bounty. While Chapo was only ever referred to as Dad and Daddy, Mayo and Beltrán were known as Aunt or Uncle. He and Chapo would often meet with the twins in Culiacán, and they became like family.
When I traveled to Culiacán, I traveled with a school bag. Big school bag with all my books that we had for the last 3 years, my ledgers.
So like a rucksack,
A regular backpack like I was going to school.
like students.
Like students, and our notebooks were like school notebooks.
So you
And
recorded
we must
every
have-
single thing you did in ledgers.
There had to be these 30 notebooks. And they were heavy. Like, you know, it was heavy. Mayo greets me with the narco handshake.
What's the narco handshake?
Yeah. And at first I was like, what?
So you're standing
This?
there. That's a handshake. That's a hug and a pat on the back. Then another handshake.
It has to be like that.
Okay.
You do that a million times. All day, okay? You do this in a row. And listen, if there's 20, 30 of them, pat in the back. If there's 20, 30, or you could do it on your side. You're gonna do it to everyone.
Every single one.
And at first I was like,
is it like how many times you pat on the back? Is it like two
times.
Two times.
Yeah, like a little dabs.
Like-
and then at first, it doesn't have to be that hard. My brother just wants to kind of put his hands on me. It's a nice, gentle. You know, it's like they do it like a bunch of.
My brother just wants to put his hands on me and shit. Like, there's some contention in that relationship that they don't talk about, and it comes out in the smallest, pettiest little things. All these years, they don't get to be around each other. They went to jail. They're in witness protection. They ain't supposed to be together. They're showing this handshake so everybody in the room can see. And one of them says, like, my brother was too rough for me. Like, these dudes are just, they something else with each other.
It doesn't have to be that hard. My brother just wants to kind of put his hands on me. It's a nice, gentle. You know, it's like they do it like a bunch of times. But I've seen like regular, like maybe older gentlemen do it to each other. And what's weird is that you do this so many times. At first I was like, give me dabs, okay. All right, some you know, other times we'll be like, hey, pound it, or
Like
you do
fist bump,
the
yeah.
Mexican handshake was,
Yeah.
that was like your typical when we were younger in Mexico.
So like
that's
a
the
kind of half handshake, a pull, and then a fist.
It's pull and a fist.
Yeah.
And
Chocolate. They'll tell you, chocolate.
chocolate means crash it.
All right. Okay.
Chocolate. Like a fist bump.
Jay learnt a very quick lesson in how important the handshake is to the Sinaloa cartel bosses when he went to meet Mayo. It means so much more than just a hug, a handshake, and a few gentle pats on the back.
And you know, I'm somewhere in the mountains of Durango somewhere, and Mayo, he had like 30, 40 guys with him. I'm a little bit on a hill, and he's at the bottom of the hill, and there's a stream. You know, light stream, you know, rocks. He has a boot in the stream, and he has the other one on top of the rock. He's like, hey, Cuate, come on, come, you know.
He's like always
Hey, come-
having like a little paddle in the stream.
You come down. Don't worry, You could buy new clothes, you get dirty. They always would joke about that. I come, and as I'm coming down, I see familiar faces. I don't know all their names. I shook 3 or 4 people's hand. Narco handshake, and Mayo, he's there, like across the stream, and they're all like right here and right there, like on each side, surrounding him, but like
the side of the street.
Yeah, like kind of listening to him talk. And there's guys a little bit farther out. I'm like, hey, what's up? Whatever, like, greeting, like if you come into a club and everyone knows you, like. But we're in the damn mountaintops with a bunch of drug lords, right? I made the mistake of saying, well, he's important when I come shake everybody's hands back. So I must have done 3 or 4, and there's like 12 more here, and probably 10 more. I go straight through the stream, through rocks. And I went to greet him, and he like...
Straight to Mayo?
To Mayo, and he looks at me. He doesn't give me a shake. He kind of grabs my hand. He says, my friends are not important enough?
Anything to get you killed. The dude that washes Mayo's car, go shake his hand before you come talk to me. Any little thing, any little break in the culture, any little break in tradition, any little break in basically how they're feeling that day, man. When you got that much power, if you feeling a certain way that day and you feel like you're going to kill somebody, anything's going to agitate you to the point where you're going to end up killing somebody. And at that point, Mayo's probably feeling like these guys want to bypass all of the other connects. They want to deal straight with us. Maybe these guys are a little too fast, a little too big for their britches. When in reality, they're just making mistakes because they don't know what the hell they're doing up there.
I thought about it. I'm sorry, I just wanted to greet you first. He said, here, we're all the same. And I said, please, I apologize in Spanish. It's like, don't worry. He sent me back. Shake everybody's hand. They're like, don't worry about it, don't worry. Like, it's okay. And there, I went, shook everybody's hand. It took me like probably 7 minutes. He just watched me. Once I got to him, he shook my hand, and when I went to that one, he gave me a good hug. He's like, how are you? And he's hugging me tight. Like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good, sir, I'm good. Always, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. He goes like, where's your brother at? Like, I'm like, yeah, you know him. And they'll be like, they'll call him Kiss Ass. Like, yeah, you know him. He's with his wife.
There's a time where we were all invited, during the first meetings that, hey, you guys you join this orgy. And literally they would line up 50 women and be like, what they want? I was like, I'm sorry, man, but, I'm married. He started laughing. Like, you're a better man than I am. Yeah, I'm married too, like 2 or 3 times. And he just laughed. But I think, like, no matter what, they respected that point of view. We're not going to, like, change our ways because, the man was there, Or even if he offered me a line of coke or, I don't do drugs, we're going to skip that part. They respected us to the point where if we said no, they're okay with that.
They be acting like they said no to everything, though. No to drugs, no to women, no to putting bags on people's head. Like, that's why I find it to be a puff piece. Like, we strictly sold drugs. I don't believe that.
Chapo ended up calling me one day. He said, listen, I really, really respect you guys and everything you guys do. And, I have my son who I want to send to you. And I want you to teach him, show him. I want my sons to, like, be like you guys, like the businessmen you guys are. That was, like, the biggest compliment ever. Like, he said he wants his sons to be like me. And I'm like, wow, well, yes, sir, like, whatever you want, yeah. He says, so I'm going to send them to you. Just do me a favor. Help him out. Show him, explain to him, so he understands the business better. And just do me one favor. Just one favor. I said, yes, sir. He said, whatever you do, just don't burn him up. He uses the word quema. Quema means burn. Burn him up meaning do not let people know that he's in the drug business. Like, keep it quiet. Keep it between us. He was a bad businessman. Everything was for his advantage. I remember I even would tell him, like, how much money are you going to make off this Like, he knows who his father is. It would just use it to advantage. And I think I used to tell him all the time. I got so comfortable where I used to tell him, like, that's not the way you're going to do business.
Chapo looked at them, 22 years old, with enough head on their shoulders to make it to Chapo himself. Said, let me send you my shorty and see if you could teach him some game, put him up on game. But how much hardship did his son have? How much? He didn't have a Chicago. The twins had a Chicago. Chapo had a struggle. How old was he at this point? You know, teenager? What does he know about the business thus far? We shall see how the boys handle him as their young protege.
I felt like there was no turning back. The point of no return.
Y'all passed the point of no return in Chicago.
I just remember him always saying, it's okay, we're safe now. You don't have to worry, we're safe now. And I used to be like, are we? Jay is a fugitive. So every time we would fly, it was always, nerve-wracking, even though we had different IDs, different identities. When I got to Culiacan for the first time, I remember Jay saying that someone was there, they're gonna pick us up. And they came in with military, and they came to get us, and they got our bags and walked us to the car and made sure that we were good. The crazy thing is that day, I never felt more safe in my life. I thought that we would be fine, like nothing else was gonna put us in harm's way. And I think after that day, that experience, I felt like I kind of was okay with it. All I cared about was like safety and stability. And it kind of just made me feel better.
Power.
We're sitting here and it's hard going back to those times and just thinking about who we were then and who we are today. In hindsight, right, things don't make sense, or we don't even understand, like, how do we make certain decisions? That goes for anyone, I think. If good or bad.
A time that the bosses were like telling Jay and P that they couldn't just move around the city on their own, or me and Viv couldn't just move freely around and go to the mall or go to the store. I used to wonder, like, why are all these men outside? Why are they out there all night? What's going on? Are we safe?
What you mean, why? Do you not know what family you're in? Do you not know what business you're in? You of all people know what business you're in. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get swept up by military and helicopters and cartel escort and all of this shit, but you act surprised. Are you in danger? I mean, you're always going to be in danger if somebody come with a bigger army. If you got an army, somebody come with a bigger army, you in danger.
And Jay would be like, that's what they're here for. And I'm like, but I don't understand. And he was like, Val, you just don't realize who we are.
See, to you, you see these guards and you think to yourself, okay, something's going on. What you got to understand is now, in the position y'all in, something is always going on. And those guards are always going to be there. Your life has changed. It's no longer, this might happen tomorrow. No, this can happen at any moment, anytime, any place.
I think that Jay tried to make everything seem normal, Jay and Peter. At first, they disregarded the bosses, and there was a situation where, like, we would go four-wheeling a lot. We would go on the ATVs. And then that day, me and Viv, we didn't go. And Jay went. There was like maybe 30 guys that went up to the mountains. I know that day I was really scared because Jay came back and said that They had a situation while they were four-wheeling and they ran into another group of armed men. He said that we just can't move around the city the way that we move anymore because like something could happen to us.
If the bosses tell you can't move around like that and you go moving on your own and you get popped off, well then it's on you.
It took us a while to adjust to the rules, accustomed to that life. There's a lot of us that day. I actually took my son with me. He loved four-wheeling and, on the side-by-side. He just loved it. And
How old was he at the time?
2.
Did it not cross your mind that you might be putting him in a dangerous situation, or was it just normal?
I guess I should have known a little bit better.
Absolutely should have known better. And your new normal, you've never had a regular normal. Y'all don't know what normal is. But yeah, a 2-year-old, and you got to roll with a armed escort of who knows however many men, while there's somebody else rolling with an armed escort of who knows how many men, and y'all run into each other. You got a 2-year-old in the way. Y'all wilding.
A bunch of armed men came to meet us, and not in a nice way. What are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm here. We're four-wheeling. He was like, hey, listen, who are you with? Like, who are these people? You guys are about to die. And the guy made a phone call. And he was like, he's with some twins. I guess the right person happened to pick up. And he said, he's from the twins from the States? He was like, yes.
Let them ride.
And they were like, put me on the phone with their boss. And he wants to talk to me. It was a scary situation. He was like, listen, we get it. You might not know, but don't you ever come up here again like that without letting someone know. We could have killed you. And if I would have killed you right now, then it would have been my ass. He was upset about that. I would have had problems because
I smoked you because you had no business up here.
I didn't think about those things. I'm thinking I still could be a regular person, but even
Yo, y'all thinking about the wrong shit over and over again. Be a regular person. You didn't choose that life, man. You didn't choose a regular person life. You chose to get that money. So build some hills on your land right there that you ain't got to get off of. Four-wheel all you want. But all this, I thought that could be regular. Bullshit.
Those things, I'm thinking I still could be a regular person, but even being a regular person, right? I'm associated, I guess, with people that they know are part of that life or whatever the case is. And I don't realize it, because it's new territory for me, right? There's so many of those learning experiences. What's big over there is traveling in groups, right? Armed men, and you have to let people know. You have to check in.
So if you check in, it's almost like once you check in, they know that you're to do with the cartel, so they'll
give you
because you checked in where the locations are.
Yes.
And they'll give you a code. They'll be like, say that you work for this company. It could be a company. It could be like, I work for Coca-Cola. Which one? I work the one in Mexico City. They'll tell you a code. And when you tell that code to whoever has you, it's their obligation to call back and check in hey, we have this guy here that
says he works at Coca-Cola in Mexico City.
Or it could be Kodak, it could be whatever it was at the time. It switches. In General Motors.
And then they check with the cartel, and the cartel go, yeah.
Yeah, they have fun, yeah.
Yeah, they work for us,
yeah.
And then that's it. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
Because you didn't check in, you didn't have...
we didn't want to put ourselves in that situation. I would never, ever, use it because I didn't want, law enforcement to know that we were part of that organization. And I'd rather just try to, talk my way out of it or just, bribe them, just on my own. I still remember one time where it was a situation where I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. And we were 2 cars and they pulled us over and the cop, and he knew me. He would see me because, again, same thing that happens back in the States. Early on, you have all these nice cars. You don't belong there. So it was like getting constantly like pulled over. And they're looking for, you give them something, some money, payoff. It was one of the situations where like, I'm not even gonna, like, I see how many cops there are. I know who's with me. I jump off the car and said, like, oh, listen, I work for the Kodak company. They looked at me and he said, which one? And I'm like, Mexico City. And he was like, his eyes lit up like, you do? His boss was like, no, I need to double check.
Get on the phone.
And he came back, his boss said, oh, I apologize. Where are you going? I'm like, we're going to dinner, we have a whatever. He's like, where's Corcho?
There are 3 main cartels that operate in Mexico, and Sinaloa is the largest one. Collectively, more than 3 million local Mexicans rely on the cartels to earn a living, including as private security to those who need it.
We decided to go to cop fights. We have special seats right in the front row.
All this special shit. You don't want nobody to see you, but you want everybody to see you. That's what I don't understand about y'all.
I have to go to the restroom.
Go sit your ass in the back with everybody else. Special seats and give me all the champagne. Y'all keep opening up y'all checkbook. You keep saying, oh, I talk my way out of it because I don't want law enforcement to know, what I do. But it's like you want to be seen and not seen. You two seem like you've always wanted the best of both worlds. You got to pay for one with the other, man.
We have special seats right in the front row. I have to go to the restroom. So I get up. So I'm going to go to the restroom. The cops see me get up off the chair, and they literally come down with their rifle. And they stop, and I look at them. I'm like, he said, where are you going? I'm like, to the restroom. He's like, come on, let's go. We're going to go take a piss. Like, let's go. And they literally went and stood next to me. And these are police officers. I use the restroom. And I wash my hands. And I was like, you're not helping me right here. And he's like, why not? Because you're burning me up. Like I was telling him, he said, no, we got to make sure you're good. And they escorted me back down to the row. When Chapo's compadre actually owned the seats, and I guess they'll tell him, like, my friend's gonna be there, like, you better keep an eye on him, make sure he's okay. And that just became normal, I guess.
Personal bodyguards were only one part of the way the cartel provided security. There was another way, a deadlier way, headed by a man known as Rambo.
The cartel has different people who do different things, and his job was sicarios. His job was to kill. And he was the one in charge of the team of hitmen. He was actually a prison guard that helped Chapo escape the first time. And he was the most vicious, craziest person I think I've ever met, but at the same time, he was really nice. To us, we would call him Rambo. I mean, I guess you could understand why we call him Rambo.
Yep, I've seen the films.
And Val used to be so mad. She used to be like, I can't believe. She's like, oh, he turned my stomach just because he was just so ruthless. He loved me and my brother. I gave him his first house as a gift for him and his family. And we would do stuff like that. He would cry. And like literally cry, shed tears.
I remember Jay inviting him to my son's birthday party. And I just was like, what is he doing here? And he ended up bringing his family. And I would just get so spooked, like my stomach would turn when I would see him. I'm like, Jay, I'm sorry. Like, I just cannot understand how he can sit here with his family after knowing like all the stuff that he did. It just was so bothersome to me.
Then you shouldn't have known. See, and that's another thing that I'm seeing in all of this. There's a whole lot of pillow talking going on. There's no Michael Corleone, you can ask me about my business once, Kay. No. There's none of that. It's all everybody knows everything. Y'all real loosey-goosey with it. You know what I'm saying? If there's a dude on your team named Rambo, that's the illest torturer, or that's the goon of the group, the person that puts the bodies in the hole in the group, why does your wife have to know that? Why does your wife have to know that so that her stomach turns, when he's invited to the baby's birthday party? I don't understand that part either. And that's why they're in the situation that they're in right now. Situation that they're in right now is that the guys cut their deal, they did their time, they're in witness protection, and their women thought they had a deal and they didn't. And now they're going to do some real time. Too much pillow talking going on. There was a lot of mistakes made. For as brilliant as they say these guys are, and I get it, you're under pressure. You got life and death responsibilities every moment of the day. Y'all was loose with the things that are obvious that you shouldn't do. There's no reason she should know what kind of person that Rambo dude is.
If you sat there and you watched him, you would never know. And I think that was the scary part.
What did he look like?
He looked like a Mexican version, working class Sergeant Slaughter. Do you know who that is? He's bald, like he was going bald, with the hair here. Big bad mustache.
So like hair, the sides.
Yeah, mustache.
If you sat there looking at him, you wouldn't know. So why does Val know? Because y'all sitting there talking about it. That type of stuff slips up a lot of things. She would have never had that discomfort, that uncomfortable feeling around dude if she didn't know the truth. What if that uncomfortable feeling led to this, led to that, led to that? All because you spoke too much.
I get a call one day. My phone's ringing and it's Rambo. And I'm like, yeah, hello. He's like,
hey, by any chance, do you know a guy named Noel Flaco?
I'm like, yeah, I do. Why? He said,
oh, you're sure. This is so good that you know him because he just approached me. He knew my name, that you called me. And I asked him, how did you know? And he said, the twin described you. It has to be you. He's your friend?
Man, he's a really good friend of mine. I'm not sure what your situation.
Oh, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure he's okay. And here, he wants to talk to you.
I remember him calling, like, hey, thank you so much. Like, thank you. I really appreciate that. He calls me the next day. He said, yo, Rambo is crazy. I'm like, well, I wonder what he did. So Rambo comes see me like 2 days later. He said, we went up there and he's crying, he's slapping the guy around with his gun, and I'm just like, we're here to take care of business. And he said he has him and 5 other guys, tied up. And I don't go to play games, And I took out my gun and I just... And he said, blood everywhere, splatter, whatever. He said, let's go. And he'd be like, they want to be fucking around. Like, I don't go to fuck around. And I'm like, you did what? And he'll say this calmly, like...
As if it was nothing.
Not a big deal.
The twins were some of the only people who would be able to stop a killing from going ahead. They often had to use that power to save their friends. As for Lupe, Jay and Pete later found out that he and his sons were kidnapped one New Year's Eve. Lupe had to then sign over all their properties to Chapo.
Time to pay the piper, Lupe. You made your move, it failed. You didn't get none of what you wanted. You didn't clear your debt. You didn't make yourself look better. You didn't crush the twins. Now it's time to pay the piper. Chapo came for everything you owe.
In exchange, the cartel let his sons go. Lupe, though, was killed under Chapo's order.
You sealed your fate, Lupe.
With the protection of the cartel, Pete and Jay were able to safely grow their business, continuing to do deals and make even more money.
We're working on a business. deal. We're actually sending pseudoephedrine from China to Mexico. And we had the people, our associates that were out of town, come in, and it was kind of taking long, and they were getting a little bit like, impatient, bored. And our relationship with them was to sit down and actually like chit chat, right? Talk ideas, dinner. This law was gonna I think we're looking to profit maybe $80 million. Of course, we were paying special attention to them. I guess being the city closed in, we didn't like to travel because it was at that time when it was hot. What they considered the government was putting checkpoints, so we'd avoid those, going to the street for anything. We'd lock ourselves in at home, which we were okay with, but they were not okay with. So we have a place in Cancun, and they said, okay, let's go to Cancun, We could just go chill over there. We call for the plane to get ready. We have actually a jet. And this usually transports money for emergencies from anywhere in Mexico, and we'll send it back to Chicago. Just in case we needed money to make a payment really fast. For whatever reason, they said it was a good idea for us to go private. Because, you stand out, right? So we said, okay, we'll just jump on a commercial plane. We'll all go separate. I'm going to learn my lesson now. I didn't like telling people what we were doing because then people know, oh, you're going to travel. By chance, Chapo's cousin called and said, hey, I need one of you to come take care of some business or whatever. And we're about to leave our family to Cancun. He's what?
None of that.
I told you guys, you cannot just travel. You need to call and check in. There's a big old military operation going down. If you guys go to that airport, you're not coming back.
Them dudes don't listen.
They know the business. They know how to maneuver. We're learning it.
No, you're not. You're not learning it. I haven't seen you learn shit. Yeah, money, you open it, you getting bigger deals going and shit, but I ain't see you learning nothing. You just said, oh, I learned my lesson. I don't tell nobody what we're doing. That way they don't know. Well, ain't that obvious? Shouldn't that have been obvious from the beginning? These guys are telling you can't just move around. You can't just move around without saying something to somebody. So they could give you the information that you need to know. That's on a need to know basis that you didn't need to know before you were going to Cancun. Now you're going to Cancun and I have this bit of information for you that you need to know. There's a military operation. If you go take your ass to that airport, you ain't coming back. These dudes just always making their little moves on their own, thinking that they're smarter than the system, and they always end up paying for it.
We're wow, we didn't know we were going to just fly into a trap. We're okay, thanks. So we decided to change our plans.
They decided to shift their getaway from Cancun to the luxurious private resort island of Punta Mita, the same place where Pete and Viv got married. They hadn't visited for 2 years.
These fools don't listen.
We had left that city because the Mexican government had found out that we were there, and we already had paid a bribe.
To the Mexican government?
Yes.
So you used to pay bribes to the Mexican government?
Yes, we would pay bribes for our business, but not for us. And the problem was that they found out who we were, and they tried to extort us. And we didn't want to get the organization involved because I knew it wasn't going to end well. So instead, we just cut off ties. We left the home we owned there. And we just left.
All right, so you burnt up a piece of land, right? You go there, you pay government officials so that the hustle continues, but you never had to pay for your own safety. And now you ended up having to pay for your own safety. So you burnt up the land and you bounced, right? Then you're ready to go do this meeting in Cancun, and somebody from the team tell you, hey, dog, it's not a good idea. This is going down. So instead, you go to the place that you burnt up already. I don't understand y'all decision-making processes, man. Real talk.
Left everything there. We actually just left our personal belongings. Just, whatever clothes, make sure we didn't leave no picture behind them. Left the house. Our workers packed up a couple bags and that was it. And the house is under someone's name. We just hey, don't even look into it. It's going to get seized or something. Something's not going to come off it because now they know.
Because I suppose you couldn't ever sell a house. Because if you did,
I mean, well, once the government knows that you own the property, nothing good's going to come from it. They're going to follow the trail where that money went, who sold it. So we ended up leaving our beach house. It was right on the beaches. It was our little getaway. We had left there 2005. So now we're 2007. All right, let's go to the beach. We're going to go back to that same area. It's okay. We won't come on. It's not a big deal. There's a bunch of us, a bunch of my workers. There's probably 25 of us. And a couple of our associates and their families, we decided to go to the beach. And we would rent this really big villa right on the beach.
Yeah. Nobody knows you there. Nah, you rented this giant villa. Nobody knows you there. You came 25 deep. Nobody saw y'all. Like, y'all want to be seen and unseen at the same time. You can't have it both ways.
Probably $4,000 or $5,000 a day or something. I'm not sure. The day after we arrived, we're hanging out in the pool and stuff. Our friends, our associates decided that they were lonely. They wanted entertainment. I was so tired that day. I was tired. And I told my brother, I'm not going out. I'm tired. I'm going to go ahead and just lay down. I end up falling asleep. Val wakes me up. Hey, Peter's saying for me to wake you up, and he's saying that they want to go to a strip club. And I'm like, all right, time to go, have fun. Like, why don't you want to go to the strip club? I said, I'm tired. She's like, oh, I want to go. I'm like, okay, then go with them. I'm gonna stay here. I'm already sleeping. And she was like, oh, you just don't want to go because it's us going, whatever the kids said. No. So that kind of made me, all right, let's go. It was 1:32. Got up, got dressed, got ready. And usually we would take someone with us, sit outside. And since it was late, everyone's already kind of tired. We're like, it's okay. It's late. We're going to go. We're thinking they're going to pick up a couple girls and it's going to be easy. I have a couple guys with me and it's our friends. It's 4 of them, me, Peter, Val, and Pete. When we get to the strip club, the security notices us. Where you guys been? Which is kind of odd. We kind of just brushed it off, whatever.
What, as in they recognized you?
Yeah, and
from being there before.
Yeah, we lived there, so
right.
So you make a lot of noise. Just your presence there, they start seeing you.
Bro, you make noise wherever you go. You claim you want to be quiet, but you make noise wherever you go. I don't understand it.
Walks past us, right, but he actually came kind of really close by. He's takes a look at us, up and down. I kind of follow him. I'm thinking he's going to the restroom. I lose his sight. He had this little khaki hat and white complected, and he walks out. He's gone. Not a big deal. Maybe 25, 30 minutes pass. I'm losing track of time there because we're in strip club, I don't drink or anything like that at the time, so I'm just, having a good time with the people that are there, and next we just hear bangs. A lot of bangs.
I had a friend here the other day that listened to this series, and it was yo, it all landed in their lap. They be doing stupid shit. This was dumb, dog. This was dumb, man. Back to the scene of the crime, you already know you was hot over there. They was at you. All it took was one person to see y'all. Y'all wildin'.
Screaming. Before we could even react, they had guns to our head.
Y'all kidnapped again? Damn. I just feel like these dudes make a lot of stupid mistakes, and it's you got the world at your fingertips. You're making more money than anybody. There's no 22-year-olds in your position, and you just doing loud shit, and it ain't you ain't been warned. You got people in the cartel telling you don't make a move without checking in. You got your own man raise you on how to be how to move in the game. And you dudes is just wilding, strip clubs and parties and flash and breaking the rules, and maybe we could do it like this. I think you thought you were smarter than what you really were. Because every time you were stupid, it led to y'all getting snatched up, extorted, or hurt in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of annoying, really. And this is the place where they were getting married, that he made a bunch of promises to the cops. Is that when they bounced? Those chickens are probably coming home to roost. Just a lot of dumb decisions as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of pillow talking. They don't talk the pillow talking out loud. You as a viewer, as a listener, you got to pick that stuff up through the conversation. Why? Why does Val know this much about this dude? This dude's whole life is keeping who he is to himself, and she knows all about it because you're a pillow talker. It's like the unlucky dude that stumbles his way to success. Crazy. Well, we made it through episode 7 at the table. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all you new subscribers. Welcome to the team. And we'll be back for episode 8. Peace.